Have you ever walked into your kitchen and felt an invisible heaviness? It's as if your joy is dampened while cooking, your abundance is diminishing, and the income you bring into the home slips away before you can even hold on to it. But could all this be due to some seemingly innocent items in your kitchen? When we heed Padre Pio's warnings, we see that the kitchen is a home's spiritual haven of abundance, and that the wrong objects can dim its light. Many of Padre Pio's quiet but profound teachings over the years address areas people touch unknowingly in daily life. And among these, the kitchen was seen by him as both the most mundane and the most sacred. For a home's kitchen is not merely a physical space where food is cooked or glasses are arranged on shelves. It is also a spiritual hearth where the invisible bonds that bind a family together are woven, shaped by gratitude or complaint, and bearing the traces of people's inner worlds. Therefore, when Padre Pio explained how the energy of the kitchen spread throughout the house, he stated that the objects we use, the intention behind their purchase, the emotions with which they are used, and how carefully they are stored, are of great importance for the spiritual atmosphere. He emphasized that when a plate breaks, it's not just a sign of resentment among the household, but also a sign of a broken tile. When a pot constantly cooks dishes filled with stones, it indicates not only haste, but also internal turmoil within the home. For him, the kitchen is the heart of the home, and where the heart beats, even the slightest energetic disruption spreads throughout the house. In his silent admonitions, Padre Pio advised taking care of the kitchen, equipping it not only with cleanliness, but also with intention. He particularly recommended pausing for a few seconds when the first light hits the kitchen in the morning, giving thanks and whispering a simple prayer. For at that moment, he argued, the energy of the kitchen would influence the household throughout the day. For him, every object carries a mark. A knife is not just a metal used for cutting, it is an object that stores the intention of every meal prepared with it. A glass is important not only for carrying water but also for representing the flow of communication within the home. Just as a pot retains the scent of the ingredients placed in it, it also carries the trace of the emotions within, and all of this unconsciously shapes the spiritual atmosphere of the kitchen. Padre Pio's warning was this: if you want abundance to flow through your home, peace to multiply, and every needed morsel to be healing, look at your kitchen not just with your eyes, but with your heart. Notice which objects weigh you down, which remind you of a memory involuntarily, which now lie in the corner like weary breath. For these invisible weights that accumulate in the kitchen can, over time, eclipse the light of the home. With quiet wisdom, Padre Pio said that the kitchen is the mirror of the spiritual life, adding, bread prepared with gratitude changes the atmosphere of the house. A plate filled with complaints suppresses abundance. For this reason, he recommended that people periodically review the items they use in the kitchen, avoid keeping items that are broken or carry bad memories, and place a small intention at the center of the kitchen. For example, a simple cross, a phrase of gratitude, or a spiritual reminder in a corner. For him, intention is the most powerful imprint on matter. If the intention is pure, the kitchen is illuminated. If the intention is cluttered and tired, the kitchen becomes heavy. Replacing a worn-out glass with a new one, getting rid of the tarnished marks on an old pan, throwing away a jar that has outlived its function, or saying a gentle prayer upon entering the kitchen, all of these renew the energetic field of the home, and in particular, renew the abundance that flows through the kitchen. This is why Padre Pio's silent teaching is profound. Because the kitchen is at the center of daily life, even the small details we don't notice affect larger areas of life. He used to say, the order in your kitchen reveals the order in your heart. Abundance is not just in the food placed on the table, but in the intention behind its preparation. So look at your kitchen, not at the objects sitting there, but at the spirit they carry. Your heart will tell you what you need to change, what you need to transform, what you need to let go of. Anyone who wants to bring peace to their home should start in their kitchen, because the door to abundance often opens silently from there. There is a concept that Padre Pio particularly emphasized in his teachings, that objects are not merely material possessions, but that the intention, thought, emotion, and energy a person carries when they touch them permeates that object like a fine mist. Therefore, although the 7 objects that interrupt abundance in the kitchen may seem completely dissimilar, they all share a common characteristic. They block the light. In other words, they harbor a disorder of intention that interrupts the spiritual flow of the home. Padre Pio used to say that every human touch leaves a trace. This trace is invisible, but it lingers on the objects, like the fine dust particles that appear when sunlight hits a window. Every object used in the kitchen carries these traces: a knife constantly used in haste, a plate abandoned in anger, a forgotten jar, a broken clock, or a tired baking pan. All somehow hold the memory of that moment's emotion. Over the years, this memory grows heavier, casting an invisible shadow around the objects. This shadow is not a darkness that completely extinguishes the light of the house, but is like a thin curtain that prevents the flow of abundance in the kitchen. For this reason, Padre Pio used to say that every item in the kitchen should be chosen, used, and protected with an intention that touches the heart. These 7 items that cut off abundance are actually the items most overlooked by people, the ones that seem most normal, and even the ones that many people keep thinking they are just okay. Their common characteristic is that they have strayed from their purpose after a while. An item straying from its purpose is not a physical but a spiritual state. For example, if a plate is broken and glued back together, that plate has not only lost its function, but also becomes a symbol of broken communication in the home, an unfinished conversation, a postponed forgiveness. If a knife no longer cuts, it is not just dull metal. It may indicate that the intentions in the home have also dulled. If a jar has been sitting empty in the cupboard for years, that jar is not just a forgotten piece of glass. It represents a waiting, postponed, stuck energy in the home. A broken clock stops the flow of time. It's not just the clock itself. People accustomed to that disorder don't realize that the rhythm in the house has also stopped. Tired ovenware bears the traces of cooked food, but it also represents the burnt traces of unresolved problems in the home. All these objects are different, but they all carry the same spiritual charge. Asterisk, asterisk, stagnation, asterisk, 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 weary, asterisk, 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 corrupted intention, asterisk, 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 resentment, asterisk, 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 forgetfulness, asterisk, 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 shutdown, asterisk, asterisk, and most importantly, asterisk, asterisk, blocking the light, asterisk, asterisk. The most critical point Padre Pio emphasizes is this: no matter how physically sound an object is, if its intention is corrupted, it is no longer spiritually healthy. Therefore, items kept in the kitchen should be evaluated not only for their intended use, but also for the spiritual traces they carry. For example, a glass used during periods of constant arguments may appear pristine and sound on the outside, but according to Padre Pio, that glass has stored the energy of every word spoken. Therefore, the blessing is cut off, because every time a person picks up that glass, they unconsciously revive that old energy. Similarly, a broken kitchen clock has simply stopped, physically, but spiritually, it has become a symbol that blocks the home's time cycle, flow, and rhythm. When old spices lose their fragrance, this isn't just a physical deterioration. It's also a sign that the home's flavor, excitement, and desire for renewal have diminished. In other words, every object is a reflection of one's inner world. The common characteristic of these 7 objects is that they accumulate shadow energy. Shadow energy, frequently mentioned in Padre Pio's words, is an invisible layer that can be cleared with awareness, but if ignored, grows and affects the entire home. The shadow blocks the light of abundance in the kitchen, leaving a sense of unfounded fatigue, boredom, heaviness, and ill fortune in the home. That's why Padre Pio used to say, a shadow in the kitchen is a silent whisper that spreads throughout the house. The only way to dispel that shadow is to renew the intention of the objects. For corrupt intention blocks spiritual abundance, while renewed intention opens the flow. While all 7 items that interrupt abundance in the kitchen may appear in different forms, they all share one powerful common denominator. They have lost their harmony with human intention. If an item becomes disconnected from human intention, it blocks the light, weighs down the energy in the kitchen, and blocks the channel of abundance that spreads throughout the house. Therefore, as Padre Pio taught, every item in the kitchen should be periodically reviewed, its intention renewed, and, if necessary, quietly removed from the house. Sometimes, restoring abundance isn't a grand prayer, but a step as simple yet profound as letting go of a small object. One of Padre Pio's most striking warnings about the kitchen was that the objects people touch most, use most frequently, and even drop and replace without realizing it in the normal flow of daily life, over time, become carriers of not only physical but also spiritual traces. Metal kitchenware, ceramic plates, and glass jars, in particular, stand out in his teachings as the most overlooked yet most energetic objects in the home. While these three items may seem different categories, they actually embody a warning rooted in the same root. Asterisk, asterisk, the energies of wear and tear, breakage, and oblivion, asterisk, asterisk, all profound symbols that slow down the flow of abundance in the home. According to Padre Pio, whichever object a person touches the most, that object also absorbs their spiritual state. Therefore, the metal pots, pans, and knives used in the kitchen are not merely tools, but carriers of the spiritual atmosphere of the home. He defined the concept of metal fatigue not as a material deterioration, but as a spiritual weariness. If a knife no longer cuts as well as it used to, it is not just dull metal, it is also a symbolic reflection of a long-standing tension in the home, accumulated resentments, and unspoken emotions. Every sharp utensil is used with an intention. The mood you are in while preparing the meal leaves a subtle mark on that metal surface. For this reason, Padre Pio said that knives used in anger, haste, or confusion, after a while, sharpen the energy of the house and set the kitchen atmosphere into an uncomfortable vibration. Likewise, broken ceramic plates and mugs should not be kept simply because they are usable, because ceramic takes a mark from every blow, and every broken piece leaves a trace of tension, a tone of voice, an argument that took place in the house. When a plate breaks, people usually glue it back together, saying, "It's okay, it can be used," and put it back in the kitchen. However, according to Padre Pio, a glued plate represents a glued emotion. Keeping broken ceramics in the kitchen creates an invisible but intense cracked energy in the flow of abundance of the house. Because with each use, that old moment of rupture is spiritually revived, unconsciously weighing down the household. The constant presence of broken ceramics in the house indicates the presence of silent resentments lingering within the family. These plates and cups, like unfinished sentences, remind us that something is left unfinished. Padre Pio's warning is crystal clear. A broken object constantly circulates an unfinished prayer, a postponed forgiveness, an open issue. It creates a thin veil over abundance. The third category, old jars, are items that appear innocent, fully functional, and perhaps the cleanest from the outside. However, Padre Pio said that jars, especially those that remain empty and forgotten, are among the most energetically burdensome objects. A house with constantly forgotten jars often harbors postponed plans, unfinished beginnings, and accumulated to-do energy. From the spiritual perspective represented by Padre Pio, such items halt the flow of renewal in the home because the nature of the object and its intention are no longer in harmony. These three items, metal-weary kitchenware, broken ceramic dishes, and old jars that accumulate energy although they fall into different categories, share the same characteristic, asterisk, asterisk, blocking the light of abundance in the home, asterisk, asterisk, all are invisibly heavy, all carry accumulated emotions, all create a blockage in the spiritual flow of the home. Padre Pio repeatedly observed the change in atmosphere at home when such items were removed from the kitchen, noting that even a small change could lighten the household's mood. Metal fatigue, broken ceramics, and old jars are, in fact, the materialized form of emotions that a person has left unresolved, ignored, or carried to the next day. Therefore, recognizing them means purifying not only the kitchen but also the soul. Padre Pio's silent teachings advise regularly checking these three items and compassionately removing any that carry corrupt intentions from the home. For a kitchen renewed with enlightened intention brings with it an invisible yet powerful wave of abundance that spreads throughout all the rooms of the house. One of the most striking points in Padre Pio's quiet yet profound warnings regarding household objects is that objects that have become obsolete, things people have grown accustomed to keeping unknowingly in a corner of the house for years, can over time form an energy node, especially in the kitchen. This node is invisible but directly affects the household's mood and the flow of abundance within the home. For Padre Pio, the stagnation created by a broken kitchen clock and the weariness of a burnt, blackened baking pan used for years are not merely the result of physical deterioration, they are the material reflection of feelings in one's inner world that one has forgotten, postponed, unaccepted, or no longer should carry. Therefore, he viewed the keeping of broken items in the home not only as disorder, but also as a subtle shadow that obstructs spiritual flow. Broken clocks are referred to in his teachings as things that stop time. If a clock in a house isn't working, the rhythm of the home is somehow disrupted. For time is not only a physical flow, but also a spiritual cycle. As time passes, a person's heart changes, their thoughts are renewed, and intentions are refreshed. But a broken clock symbolically freezes this flow. A broken clock in the kitchen causes the household to remain unconsciously in the same emotions, the same stuckness, the same weight. According to Padre Pio, people often don't notice these effects because the broken clock becomes a familiar sight. No one looks at it, no one corrects it, no one throws it away. Yet, the clock is like a chain that silently holds back the energy of the house. When the clock stops, life appears to move forward, but the spiritual flow is seemingly put into slow motion. Nothing is renewed within the house, abundance doesn't flow, and peace doesn't truly increase. Every glance at a broken clock creates an inner feeling of being stuck, even if one doesn't realize it. As Padre Pio put it, a stopped clock is the mirror of a stopped intention. If an object represents the flow of time, its broken state means that intentions are also broken. Old baking pans, on the other hand, are among the items that hold the most energy in the kitchen, and Padre Pio would particularly focus on the burn marks on these pans. According to him, a burnt, blackened ovenware, used many times but unable to regain its former shine even when cleaned, is not merely a cooking tool. It bears the traces of years lived in the house, the household's weariness, sometimes unspoken words, suppressed anger, and postponed decisions. Cooking is an intention. Every utensil in the kitchen absorbs the energy of this intention. As Padre Pio warned, overworn ovenware lowers the vibration of the kitchen, effectively narrowing the door to abundance and weakening the sense of renewal within the home. As long as a person continues to use these utensils, an unnoticed feeling of fatigue accompanies them. Food preparation becomes short of breath, joy diminishes, and unnecessary tension within the home increases. One of the most common characteristics of these two objects, broken clocks and old ovenware, is that they refuse to let go of the old energy they hold in the home, keeping the household at an old frequency. As long as a clock doesn't tick, it doesn't adapt to the flow of time. As long as a baking dish constantly carries the smell of burnt air, the fire of renewal in the home remains extinguished. The energy held in these items weighs down the general atmosphere of the home. People may experience this as weariness, unfruitfulness, reasonable restlessness, or everything going wrong. For this reason, Padre Pio advised that broken items should be repaired or removed immediately, because when intention is broken, the flow of blessing is also disrupted. Replacing baking dishes with new ones means completely releasing the old energy. Sometimes, great spiritual relief comes from throwing away just a single old dish. When a clock is repaired, the rhythm of the house also lightens. It feels as if a weight has been lifted. The organization of these two items re-establishes not only the order of the kitchen, but also the spiritual order of the home. There is a truth emphasized in Padre Pio's teachings. Objects carry the intention from one's heart. Asterisk, asterisk. When an object is broken, it doesn't just break itself, it also overshadows the intention, the flow, and the light in the home. Therefore, as long as broken clocks and worn-out baking dishes are kept in the kitchen, the doors of blessing within the house remain half-closed. Renewing them isn't just a physical change. It's about renewing the energy, intention, and rhythm of the home. Padre Pio, who said that these small steps could create a major spiritual opening in the home, always said, "Blessings begin with an intention and end with an intention." Removing these two items from the kitchen is the first step in renewing that intention. One of the themes Padre Pio most emphasized in his spiritual warnings about the kitchen was how small but powerful objects, often discarded, unnoticed in daily life, become energy reservoirs over time. In his eyes, unused, stale, or expired spices and glasses carrying negative memories are particularly powerful symbols that disrupt the spiritual fabric of the kitchen and overshadow the home's channel of abundance. Spices, thanks to the flavor, aroma, and vitality they impart to dishes, are seen as small representatives of life energy from the past to the present. The vitality of spices in a home is a sign that the intentions within are also alive. However, according to Padre Pio, spices that have been left untouched for years, unopened, and have lost their flavor and scent are a sign of stagnation in the home, postponed tasks, and inner weariness. When the essence of a spice deteriorates, so too does its intention, creating a disruption in the kitchen's energy. The staleness of a spice symbolizes not only physical but also spiritual decay, signaling that there is a space in the home that needs renewal, an intention that needs to be refreshed. The older the spices, the greater the stagnation in the home. The essence of a spice is the essence of intention. A spice whose essence has been lost weakens intention. Padre Pio used to say that spices are an important spiritual stimulant in the kitchen. The first thing that enlivens a dish is the scent of the spice. A spice whose scent has vanished symbolically indicates that the spiritual fragrance in the home has also weakened. Many people keep spices stored in the cupboard for years, saying, "I'll use them when needed," but a spice that is never used, lingering only in the dark corner of the cupboard, accumulates the energy of unused potential, forgotten prayers, and postponed beginnings in the home. Furthermore, these old spice containers carry an energy of indecision that one doesn't realize. The repetition of the phrase, "Should I throw it away or keep it?" weighs down the energy on the object. From Padre Pio's spiritual perspective, expired spices, in particular, create a kind of blockage at the entrance of abundance into the kitchen. The essence of the spice is dead, and a dead essence cannot carry a living intention. Therefore, the first thing anyone looking to refresh their kitchen should do is review their spice rack. Just as a person seeks to renew their inner world, a kitchen needs renewal. Glasses, which carry negative memories, carry a much stronger symbolic weight than spices, because a glass is an object with which a person comes into direct contact, with which their lips touch it, and which their breath is close to. Therefore, glasses are like the fastest recording devices of emotional vibration in a home. If a glass has been used during an argument, held during a resentment, passed from hand to hand on a day when a tear was shed, or accompanied by a glass of water drunk with deep sorrow, according to Padre Pio, the subtle trace of all these emotions is etched into the fabric of that glass. The connection of the glass to a forgotten memory also symbolizes the presence of an unresolved issue in the home. A person drinks water from a glass, but a hidden emotion rises from the water. The glass unconsciously alters their mood. Many people say, "When I drink from this glass, I feel suffocated," or "When I see this cup, I feel uneasy." But they can't explain why. According to Padre Pio, the reason lies in the energetic record the glass carries. Therefore, he recommended periodically reviewing the cups and mugs in the house and quietly removing any that carry negative memories. A cup constantly opens and closes an unclosed book in one's heart. This drains the energy of both the kitchen and the household. These two items, stale spices and cups that hold negative memories, though seemingly completely different, share a common theme in Padre Pio's teachings. Asterisk, asterisk, cut off the blessing. Asterisk, asterisk. One, through loss of flavor and vitality. The other, by carrying an emotional shadow, drains the energy of the kitchen. When the spices lose their essence and the cup accumulates a negative memory, the kitchen, like a closed window, struggles to let in light. The flow of blessing, vitality, and healing in the kitchen slows down. Therefore, Padre Pio's advice is to refresh the spices, choose the cups with intention, and leave a clean memory in every cup used in the kitchen. Because blessing is most stored in the kitchen and escapes fastest. Just as the scent of spices brings food to life, the energy of a glass brings peace to a home. Therefore, anyone looking to renovate their kitchen should first consider these two items. The kitchen's light often lies in these two small details. Besides his warnings about homes, especially kitchens, what Padre Pio placed greatest emphasis on was a solution that was always practical, simple, yet deeply affecting the soul. His teachings were never based on frightening, demoralizing, or fault-finding. On the contrary, they were given to support people in initiating a simple yet effective transformation in their home, heart, and intention. Therefore, noticing the items in the kitchen that were interrupting abundance was only the first step. What truly mattered was transforming this awareness into an intention for transformation, purifying the items, renewing the kitchen's energy with gratitude, and renewing the entire spiritual flow of the home. According to Padre Pio, initiating change in a kitchen begins with a silent acceptance within oneself, for the kitchen is a reflection of the heart. Therefore, his solution guide includes 3 fundamental steps that touch both the items and the person simultaneously. Asterisk, asterisk, purify. Give thanks, renew, asterisk, asterisk. While these 3 steps may seem simple, their effect on the home is profound and transformative. Purify, in Padre Pio's language, did not just mean physical cleansing. It wasn't about dusting off an object, but about renewing the intention behind it. Broken dishes, broken clocks, burnt ovenware, or jars untouched for years in the kitchen become physical trash, but leave a spiritual mark. Padre Pio described the process of purification as clearing away these marks. According to him, people sometimes keep old objects because they get by, getting used to living in unnecessary clutter without realizing the weight this clutter creates on the soul. Purification, on the other hand, removes these veils of habit. It allows one to see their home with real eyes. During the purification process, it's necessary to go through the items one by one, silently understanding which items are now a burden, which carry a bad memory, and which no longer fit the energy of the home. This awareness, suggested by Padre Pio, is the first step that reopens the door to abundance in the home. Because when an object is released, an intention is released along with it. When the object weighing down the kitchen is removed, the invisible shadow within the house is lightened, creating space for light to flow. The second step following purification, asterisk, asterisk, giving thanks, asterisk, asterisk, is the most powerful, most healing point of the solution guide. Padre Pio, while explaining how gratitude in the kitchen unconsciously transforms life, used to say, "The light of the soul enters through the door of a grateful person." Therefore, gratitude is not merely a ritual. It is like a spiritual breath that constantly keeps the energy of the home alive. As a person expresses gratitude, the intention in the kitchen is renewed. A spiritual warmth seeps into the food in the pot, and even the water drunk from a glass takes on a different flavor, because gratitude purifies a person's connection to both things and life itself. The third step, renewal, is a complementary movement to the first two. Renovation doesn't mean incurring major expenses or replacing the entire kitchen. According to Padre Pio, renewal begins with renewing one's intention, even replacing an old glass with a simple new one, throwing out a stale spice, and opening a fresh bottle, repairing a broken clock, or replacing a burnt baking pan with a clean vessel creates a powerful shift in the spiritual flow of the home. Renovation also represents a renewal in one's inner world. because when a kitchen is renovated, one unconsciously releases the stagnation within. According to Padre Pio's teachings, a renovated kitchen opens the home's veins of abundance. Congestion disappears, residents begin to breathe more easily, arguments decrease, peace increases, and the home's atmosphere becomes noticeably softer. Renovation is a symbol of leaving old energy behind in the home. Each renewed item adds a clean slate to the spiritual fabric of the home. These 3 steps, purifying, giving thanks, and renewing, serve as a spiritual guide that applies not only to the kitchen but to the entirety of one's life. Purifying is letting go of the past, giving thanks is blessing the present, and renewing is stepping forward with hope for the future. Padre Pio said that abundance in the home most readily arises from the kitchen, emphasizing that applying these 3 steps in every aspect of life leads to a stronger, more peaceful, and more conscious state. If these teachings of Padre Pio have awakened a light in you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can be the first to receive each new spiritual guide. Also, to invite abundance into your life, simply write in the comments, "I open to abundance." This small intention is much more powerful than you might think.